and he's going to house it.
It's amazing. Absolutely amazing.
What's going on, everybody, and welcome to another Angle of Pursuit podcast, your fantasy football, sports betting, and NASCAR home. I'm your host, Kyle Robert. Follow me on Twitter at NotoriousKRO. With me, as always, it's Brian Twining. What's up, Brian?
What's going on, Kyle? Last week wasn't the absolute worst for me. I actually wound up floating above 500 there at the end of the week, first time in, over a month probably. So I'm looking forward to this Week 14 slate, and you'll come to find out I have a ton of picks this week.
Yeah, it was an absolute dumpster fire for me. I had 5 total losses in week 11 and week 12 on 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18 picks. I made 3, 6, 8 picks in week 13 and whiffed on 7 of them. So
hey, man,
real weak. I had the Logan Thomas under. Of course, he gets the over and then gets hurt.
Yep.
T.Y. Hilton was. I didn't realize, I know the Colts didn't use him as much as they used to, but
that was ridiculous.
He doesn't play. He's on the field for a very, very tiny amount of snaps. And as soon as he is once they had the lead, he didn't play at all. The fact that he got one catch for 15 yards, and I was like, perfect, here we go. That was in the first quarter, and then he got one catch the rest of the way, ended up with 2 for 22. Very, very underwhelming. Not sure why we got to it. And then I don't remember I didn't actually put in a pick for DK, but he was fine. I don't know. But yeah, we'll turn the page. We'll look at another week. There's a lot to get into, and a lot of actual, this week, I don't know about for you, but for me, the board is pretty appetizing. There's a lot of places I could find myself going.
Yeah, I found it difficult to not try to make a pick in every game this week. It's one of those weeks where whether it's a side, a total, a first half, or some sort of prop involved within a certain game, this week has a ton of places to attack at the window.
I say spray the board, Brian. Don't hold back. We're in week 14. We got 3 more weeks after this one, which is insane. Then obviously the playoffs will be here
4
helping
more
you
weeks
with your betting picks the whole way. What was that?
4 more weeks. Remember, 18 weeks.
As I said, 4 weeks. Well, yeah. So this week plus 3 more, right?
No, this is week 14. We still get 4 more.
14, 15, 16, weeks. 17. Okay, yeah, 5 weeks. I was like, it's week 14, so that means 15, 16, 7. Yeah, I don't know. Math is never my strong suit, but picking winners. Let's get back on. I'm still on the right side of 500, although I'm a lot closer to it than I'd wanted to be. You're on the wrong side. We'll see if we can spray the board, find some winners.
Baby steps.
And let's talk about our week 14 betting targets, Brian. And I will let you have the tea since you absolutely dismantled me. And talk to me about one of your favorite picks.
Yeah, I'm jumping on board with my Cowboys. It's been kind of an up and down year for me with them in terms of going to the window. It took me a while to get on board with them in terms of how good they were. And then, of course, as soon as I did, they laid 2 stinkers in a matter of 3 weeks. I think that this game going up against Washington with basically they could cement themselves as the divisional winner if they can win this matchup. I think with all 3 of those guys on the outside finally healthy for the Cowboys, that's a place where Washington has really struggled, is defending the pass. And now, yes, the news that Tony Pollard may miss with a torn plantar fascia, and the possibility of him even playing sounds preposterous. But traditionally you think of the Cowboys, they want to run the ball, and then go to the air. But I think this is a game where you see this passing offense really get working, and Washington just does not have the pieces to keep up with an offense that is able to put up a ton of points quickly. And as long as the Cowboys are able to stay on the field on third downs, I think they run away with this in a big way.
Yeah, see, I actually like if they keep Zeke's dusty ass off the field, or at least stop giving him the ball every time he's out there, and Tony Pollard's a little bit banged up, and now they actually throw the ball. I think it's a great spot for Dallas, and I actually like them more at this price. I'm going to join you. I'm going to join you on Dallas minus the 4. I like this number a lot. I know Washington's been like on this hot streak, and they've been winning games, and
it's interesting too, because I've liked Washington all season, and they
Yeah.
were one of my favorite teams coming into the year because of what I had expected the defense to do. And leading up to this week, I've seen it numerous occasions already through the NFL world of people talking about how Washington is one of the best defenses in terms of getting teams off the field on third downs, and the Cowboys have actually struggled. But you haven't seen Dallas really get to that high-powered, we're going to throw the ball 50 times offense since week 1, really.
No.
And, if they can get back to that with those pieces on the outside, Washington is not going to be able to stop them and or keep them from getting into the end zone.
Yeah, maybe we're chasing something that's not going to happen, but I think they're in a good spot. I think they're heading the right way. And, Washington had some losses that probably should have been wins early. Now they're getting wins that probably should have been losses late.
Well, the red zone struggles still continue.
Shouts to the Washington kicker taking me from I believe a push against Oakland or Vegas to an L. So that would have been decent. I think I threw it on the card. I'm gonna join you. I think Dallas is absolutely the play this week. I'm gonna go back to the well, and I'm gonna take San Francisco minus the 1 versus Cincinnati. Can I still get? Let's look at the actual line and just make sure everything looks good. Yeah,
it's like 1.5.
I can still get 1 at BetMGM and FanDuel, so I'm taking that 1. It's 1.5. I'd bet that all the way up to 2.5 probably. Last week's game against Seattle was such a fluky game. The first play, Trenton Cannon has to get taken off in an ambulance. That throws everything off. Fake punt, return for a touchdown. The Niners had multiple chances. They still had a chance at the end to get a touchdown, not only win, but get the cover. The receiver was getting held on third down, then an ugly fourth down play. And the Niners against Russell Wilson in Seattle it's just not been well. It's a weird spot. With the Bengals, I bet the Chargers money line last week. I was really happy to cash that. The Bengals looked like crap. Then they kind of got hot, but I think that was more because the Chargers were turning it over. I think if the Niners can get a decent lead here, they could lean on the running game, even if that means JaMychal Hasty or Jeff Wilson. I still think they can be productive. We'll see. Debo's trending towards not playing. Is that kind of where your read is?
No, so he's actually returned to practice at limited
basis
both of the last 2 games, and that was something I was actually going to hit on. Is that when you look at last week's game, you could tell the absence of Debo was very apparent. I know George Kittle is finally back being George Kittle. I mean, absolutely punking people on defense and being Mr. Twinkle Toes on the sideline there. So if they get Debo back in any capacity this weekend, I do think that San Francisco, even though, like you said, if it's minus Elijah Mitchell and it's a Jeff Wilson, JaMychal Hasty backfield, I think they're able to get back into what they want to do on offense and, control the game. And I think the most important aspect of this spot, too, is the fact that Joe Burrow has that pinky issue going up against one of the most ferocious pass defenses in the NFL. You got Nick Bosa coming off the end against still a very mediocre at best Bengals offensive line. Joe Mixon still hasn't practiced this week because he's dealing with some sort of really bad cold. So we'll see what his status is. I like the Niners too. And I saw a stat, Kyle Shanahan is 7-1 when playing in the Eastern time zone in his career. So
maybe he needs to go coach in the NFC East so he can get a few more wins.
Just an interesting tidbit that I saw. I could be off on the record, but I know it's really good.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. And I like I said, I'm all over I think the Bengals are coming back to the kind of fruition and becoming the team that they're clearly the second or third banana at best in this division. Although, we talked about how impressive this division could be coming in.
Yeah.
And now it's like there's 4 teams, and we really don't know who's going to win. But I don't know that any of them actually like compelling or scary or anything. Like,
I feel like this has taken over the mantra of the black and blue division, not because the teams are beating up each other, but because they're all dealing with numerous amounts of injuries, and that's kind of affecting their ability on the field. I mean, when you look at even the Bengals, like they've dealt with it all year. Every other team in the division is
Steelers are
riddled with
banged up.
injuries.
The Browns actually seem like the team that has the least amount of injuries coming off of their bye week. Seem to actually might be sort of getting healthy.
Yeah, we'll see.
Why don't you hit me with your next pick?
All right, so I'm going to go to the Meadowlands this week, and that's one of my favorite spots to bet, kind of from all angles, and that's the Saints and the Jets. The Saints are going to have nothing on the outside, but that's luckily for them. The Jets suck defending the run. The Saints, as long as Alvin Kamara avoids the COVID list, are going to have a tandem of Taysom Hill and Kamara in the backfield, which we could see a very similar game plan as the Patriots ran against the Bills for New Orleans this week. You know, maybe throw 10 times and just run the ball, 50 times this week.
I'm so mad about that game.
Looking at this spot, I'm approaching this from an idea that the Jets just will not possess the ball very much. So I'm liking the game total under right now, 43. I like the Jets team total under 18.5. I like the Saints to cover the line -5.5. This is a spot I'm going all in on the Saints this week.
Yeah, the Jets got a few breaks last week. Got put in some really prime position. Ended up scoring a few more points than I wanted to as someone who bet the under. Obviously, that game got real wonky with Gardner Minshew against Zach Wilson with the shootout that everyone
Minshew-mania,
expected to see. But yeah, it was very, very interesting.
Yeah. And the Jets too, coming into this week, they're even more banged up. I mean, going back to talking about being black and blue, they're already gonna be without Corey Davis. Tevin Coleman now has a concussion. Michael Carter is still out.
Yep.
Elijah Moore missed practice again. It's leaning towards him not playing this week. So I mean, Zach Wilson's gonna be throwing the Keelan Cole and Jamison Crowder and maybe Ryan Griffin, and then they're gonna have that Westco, I forget Waller. That's his name. Alan Waller, Austin Waller in the backfield.
Waller,
Jets are going to be trash this week.
Yeah, no, I like that call, and I like the team totals because I like to target team totals with the Jets, especially when they're playing another crappy team. And this one thing that we can trust is the Saints defense is good. The rest of the stuff on the field is all crap.
Yeah.
I think that makes a ton of sense. I'm gonna go to the Monday night game and target the Arizona Cardinals. I don't get this line. It's 2. Let me see what we're looking at. Yeah, I mean I can get a 1 right now over at Bet Online. I can get 2 with DraftKings, 2 with FanDuel. I'll call it 2 for the show purposes. But yeah, I don't understand like. The Rams are supposed to be this team that is supposed to be dominant, and I know they have names and Jalen Ramsey and Von Miller and Matthew Stafford, and like even against the Jags, like we haven't seen that team in what, a month and a half at the best. Now Cooper Kupp's a little banged up, Stafford's a little banged up. We'll see. Darrell Henderson's supposed to return this week, but we'll see. Arizona's trending in the right direction. They're still a really good team. Kyler's going to be healthy. Hopkins is going to be healthy. And we don't get Edmonds this week, right?
Yeah, it's not looking likely. They're targeting the next week. They're targeting week 15 for him.
And with James Connors, the way he's been playing, I don't think they'll need to. Rondale Moore is actually starting to get a little more work, which is nice to see. So I think Arizona wins here. I think they cover the 2 and win by 3 or more.
Yeah, this is a game that it was really difficult for me to look at. There'll be another mention of this spot, but I do like the Cardinals to win here at home. I think people are banking on the preseason Rams team that we thought were, top 2 contenders in the NFC for the Super Bowl. We kind of saw a glimpse of that last week, but one thing that we've seen during that bad stretch was the fact that going up against teams that like to play smash mouth football, they've been struggling. And one thing Arizona has been doing this year with that revamped offensive line has been smashing people in the mouth with James Conner and now Kyler Murray coming back fully healthy. It's going to be difficult for the Rams to stop this running game. And even if they can do that, Arizona's healthy on the outside with, like you said, Rondale Moore is getting more involved. AJ Green, DeAndre Hopkins look fully healthy. Didn't even have to play very much last week. So I like the Cardinals to win this game at home. And I think they get pretty close to clinching the division in this spot as well.
Yeah. I mean, this game is critical for both these teams if you want to try and lock up that not only the division, but potentially, looking towards that number 1 overall seed. Yep. What's your next pick?
All right, so I'm going back to team total, and I'm surprised that it's even set at this amount, but the Lions team total is currently set at 16. No DeAndre Swift. TJ Hawkinson popped up on the injury report with a hand injury. His hand was seen to very heavily wrapped at practice this week. I mean, he could wear a club, but he's not going to be able to catch the ball one-handed going up against Denver. They have nothing on the outside. This Broncos team is right in the middle of a playoff race right now. They're going to do everything possible to just pound the rock, keep the ball away from Detroit. I just don't see how Detroit is able to even get the ball past midfield enough to even put this number in danger. So I'm taking the under here. I think the Broncos absolutely smash in this spot.
Yeah, the Kirk Cousins gift is definitely not coming. I guess my question is, should we consider the 9 or 9.5 wherever we can get it? It might even have to take the 10. Like, I don't know that I trust Denver.
It's hard with Denver because they don't play that, because they don't run away with games. I mean, I could see this being a 17-10 spot or 17-9. Like,
I could even see it being like 23-10, and then or 23 to 23 to 9, and all of a sudden they score a touchdown at the end that's kind of meaningless, but ends up getting them the cover. I mean, it's pretty much 10 across the board. It's so hard for me to lay that number with a Teddy Bridgewater-led offense, but it might be the right play, especially with Swift out, with Hawk potentially out, and Jared Goff really having to do a lot.
Yeah, and mind you, Goff is also dealing with some issues too. He's hurt and he's sick, so they got to play in Mile High. I mean, not an easy place to play. So yeah.
All right, Brian, I'm going to do it. I'm going to get in front of the juggernaut, and I'm going to take the Buffalo Bills minus or plus the 3.5 versus Tampa Bay. Like I said, that Monday night game was an absolute travesty. They had a couple chances to score. They could have played a little bit quicker when they had the ball in the wind behind them. I don't really know what they were doing. But I still trust this offense. Hopefully, like last week didn't just screw them up mentally, but they have so much talent offensively. They can go toe-to-toe, and I think they have the defense. And actually, this game should, in terms of like what the Bills want to do, set up so much better than what it did a week ago against New England. So I think
I was just going to say exactly, like, this is Tampa's pass funnel defense is exactly what Buffalo wants to do to begin with.
Yeah.
So although I may not be in agreement in taking the Bills with the points here, I like the game. If I'm betting this game, I'm taking the over. I like both team total overs because I think Buffalo can be passed on now minus Tre'Davious White on the outside. I mean, Tampa Bay could throw on anybody with Tom Brady in those pieces. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I think you're going to see the Bills offense get back to what they like to do and throwing the ball down the field this week.
Yep. What's your next pick? Any more before we get to your teaser?
So no, I was going to transition right into my teaser, and I got a few little.
All right, we'll save your teaser. Let me add a couple more of the ATS, and then we'll hit your tease, and then we'll hit some props. I'm also going to take the Browns. As I mentioned, they are getting this is the healthiest version we've seen The bye week, I think, was good for them. Hopefully Baker's not completely broken. I think they can run. I think they could do enough to beat Baltimore, who is just an absolute mess on both sides of the ball. I'm not really sure what happened to that Lamar passing game that we saw early. I don't know what happened to Rashad Bateman. He's not playing. They're using way too much Devonta Freeman. Browns at home minus less than a field goal. I will take that. I will take that candy all day long. The Chiefs are so tempting, but like
that's such a big number, and the
such
Raiders
a big number for
like,
a team that just I don't know what to make. The Packers are compelling on Sunday night. I could see them absolutely destroying the Bears, like 35-3 kind of thing. But they also do that thing where they'll get up like 17 and then they just sit on the ball. And a healthy Aaron Jones, a healthy-ish A.J. Dillon, I think that sets up well for them. The other team that was compelling is Seattle, but they just came off of a big win against an in-division rival. They're still playing like garbage. The Texans are really bad, and Davis Mills is playing. So that's what makes me more interested. And I don't know. That's probably just a stay away. I'm going to add one more. I'm going to add the Panthers minus the 2.5. I think Cam plays much better this week.
Agreed.
And when he doesn't have to shoulder so much of the load and really, try and do a ton, that everything just goes so much smoother when he kind of has to put things on his shoulders. That's when the turnovers and the problems start occurring. I think he plays well. I don't trust Atlanta as far as I could throw them. So yeah, I think.
Well, especially when Russell Gage is your
right. Yeah, Russell Gage is the breakout superstar to give Kyle Pitts some underneath room. Let's give it to him, Brian. What's your Week 14 tease?
All right, so going back to that Seattle game, going to Houston, coming off of that huge win to keep their playoff hopes alive. The current number is a little bit too high for me to lay going on the road with a team who's really struggled this year. I mean, still don't think Seattle's very good, but teasing this down to 2.5, getting them, as a 3-point favorite, all they got to do is win by the field goal, I think is a perfect spot for this Seahawks team. I don't see Russell Wilson allowing them to falter on the road to this horrendous Texans squad. Going to your Titans here, hosting Jacksonville Jaguars, coming off a bye. I think that Tennessee getting a little bit healthier on the defensive side of the ball. It's looking like Julio is going to be activated this week. Jacksonville,
and Golden Tate probably
disaster. Like even this number sitting at 8.5 is a little bit risky for me with Jacksonville's defense, who's been playing a little bit better. I know the Rams put up a lot of points, but that's a lot of short fields. So teasing this down also to 2.5, I really like. And then going back to that Lions at Broncos game, the total, teasing this up to 48 and taking the under is a smash play for me. Like I said, I have a hard time believing that Detroit's going to even contribute 14 in this spot, and Denver sure as hell is not scoring 5 touchdowns here. So taking the under 48 there, and then going to the Rams on that Monday night game. Like I said, I love the Cardinals to win this spot, but teasing this up to about 8.5, 8, depending on what the line's currently set at, I think makes a lot of sense in respect to how the Rams came off that big win. They gained a little bit more confidence. I do think that with Odell getting a little bit healthier, getting more integrated into this offense is really going to pay dividends going forward. And if they can get Darrell Henderson to return, I think that'll lessen the pressure that's brought on Matthew Stafford a little bit. So I think the Rams can keep this close towards the end, although I do think Arizona winds up taking the victory. So my 4-leg teaser of the week is going to be the Titans, teasing that down to 2.5. Seahawks also teasing that down to 2.5. Lions at Broncos, teasing that up to 48, taking the under, and then teasing the Rams up to an 8.5-point dog in Arizona.
Yeah, no, I think those all make a ton of sense. Wait, oh, the Rams, yeah. Yeah, I think that will probably be a closer game. It'll definitely be inside the touchdown, so that makes a lot of sense as well. Let's talk some player props because there is some interesting options this week,
and I have a ton of them.
Yeah, why don't you start ripping some off, and then I'll mix some in as well.
All right, so I went a little tight end heavy, which includes Taysom Hill here. Haha. Dalton Schultz receptions, I'm taking his over 4.5 in this spot. Like we spoke about, Washington really struggles against the pass with possibly even if Pollard plays, he's probably going to be limited, which is going to take away a lot of those underneath plays. I think Dalton Schultz becomes that kind of safety valve in the middle of the field with their shorter routes. He's developed a really good rapport with Dak, and now even Sean McKeon, the backup tight end for Dallas, is dealing with an injury, so Schultz could probably play close to 100% of the snaps this week. Travis Kelce, staying with the tight end position, his receptions prop is only set at 5.5. Like, this dude is a number one wide receiver with possibly the best quarterback in the NFL. Stats be damned. I don't see how that's not going to hit. No explanation needed. Just smash the over on Travis Kelce's receptions over 5.5.
Yeah, I think I would look at like an alternate line if I could find it, maybe like 6.5 and get a better number.
Oh yeah, I would definitely push it over. I'd probably be comfortable trying to get him as high as 7.5, which will probably be good.
I think 7 or 8 if you can get really good juice makes a ton of sense.
Oh yeah, I think that's happening, which absolutely sucks because I'm playing him in a must-win fantasy football playoff PPR league this week, so that sucks. And then sticking with the tight ends real fast, Taysom Hill playing quarterback or disguised as a quarterback this week. I like him to score the first touchdown wherever you can find this number. It's like 5.5 to 1, 6 to 1, depending on what book you could get it at. I just think that in this spot, there's going to be a ton of running, and Taysom Hill is the goal line back for the Saints, and I think that they're going to do that quite often this week. But I like him to get that first touchdown.
Yeah, no, I think that makes a ton of sense. I have Rashad Bateman under 27.5 receiving yards. This guy is getting phased out of the offense. I no clue why. He was really good.
I'm so disappointed in Lamar Jackson.
He got one target last week. He's going in the wrong direction. I'm taking Cole Beasley over 41.5 receiving yards. I think he could have a decent game, a 6 for 60 with a touchdown or two. I'm also taking Gronk over 47.5. This is a guy that gets 50 plus, clearly being used. And then I'm taking Marquise Brown over 4.5 receptions. This guy has only failed to hit 5 or more in three games. That would be week 3, week 4, and week 6. 7, 9, 10. They're buying 11, 12, and 13. All over 5 receptions, 5 or more receptions. Absolute smash. I want to look at rushing and receiving. Oh, of course they don't have it. I think it's going to be a Clyde Edwards-Helaire week. I think he's going to get more work than people are expecting.
He's looked really spry since coming back.
Yeah, he's looking good. I think this is going to be a spot where they can get up, obviously, as big favorites. I'll do it. Over 61.5 rushing yards. They don't have a rushing receiving. I was kind of hoping to get like a 70 or 80 combo there, but I will take over 61.5 rushing yards, even though I hate taking overs with players just because the likelihood is so much better with unders.
Yeah,
that's okay.
Double, yeah. Yeah, I got a few more too. I'm going back to my buddy Cordero Patterson. It's kind of difficult for me to get on his total rushing yards prop this week, a little bit over 50, because Carolina does do really well at defending the run, but I do like his longest rush prop of 14.5. He has a ton of juice. He looks like a legit RB1. Like it only took 10 years of him being in the league for people to figure out how to use him.
Yeah. What about over total yards, 91.5? It feels like a big number, but when you consider
that's difficult because I feel like they haven't been using him in the passing game quite as often as you would like.
And when they do, it's like around the red zone when they're trying to score a touchdown, not necessarily big plays. That makes sense.
And you saw them get Mike Davis a little bit more involved last week too, which is a little bit worrisome for Patterson's total yards prop also.
Yeah.
And then with the the head guy of this graphic right here, Mr. Brandon Cooks, will be shooting those arrows this weekend against the Seahawks.
Even with Davis Mills, huh?
Yeah, Brandon Cooks to me is he's one of the favorites of the show. He's always one of the most underappreciated guys in the NFL. He has ton of speed. I think you see Houston take a few shots this week with Jamal Adams out. Quandre Diggs for Seattle also popped up on the injury report today, so Seattle could be playing two backups at the safety position. I think you see Cooks have a big day, quite possibly get close to 100 in a losing effort. And then my last one, going back to that Denver game, Jared Goff with no weapons, under 218 and a half passing yards. They're just not efficient. Even when he's dumping it off, they're not getting much after the catch, and nobody on the outside is going to scare this Broncos pass defense, who may be getting Bryce Callahan back this week, which just bolsters what is already a really good pass defense.
I like it. I'm also going to do Devonta Freeman over 12.5 rushing attempts. This is a guy who is getting all the work in Baltimore. Basically since week 9, 13, 10, 16, 16, and 14. The 10 came against the Dolphins in a game where they lost by double figures, and the 13 came against the Vikings, which it did go to overtime, but the Baltimore got down quickly in that game and had to throw to catch up and come back. So that's obviously why his numbers were a little dwindled. As long as they keep it relatively close, like the last 3 weeks, 16, 16, 14, I think he gets there. I think 15-ish attempts is very, very, very reasonable for him.
Who the hell would have thought in 2021 Devonta Freeman would be
Adrian
runner.
Peterson in Seattle, Devonta Freeman. Like I don't know what
Carlos
we're doing.
Hyde in Jacksonville has been seeing some run lately.
Yeah, I mean, that was the other one. I really want to do. I really want to like. Do you like? Am I overthinking it by saying Trevor what's his name? Trevor Lawrence coming out and talking about James Robinson, how important he is. Like,
well, he didn't practice today again, so there's a good
and that's why there's no
possibility.
number for him. But man, if he plays and he's actually
there's a good
able to be
possibility
on the
he's
field,
limited.
I think that could be an interesting spot. I want to fade the Cowboys rushers too, but I think because of the injuries and stuff, there's no lines for them.
Yeah, I really like all the receivers props for this game. Like Gallup again, his yards total I think is sitting in the low 50s, which he's that big chunk play guy on the outside. And the one-on-one opportunities, Dak is going to throw it up to him. It's only going to take 2 or 3 catches for him to get to that spot. So I like Gallup a lot. I like Amari Cooper this week to see like more targets. I really like
all the leagues that I have him in, I've been eliminated, so it would make sense for him to have boom this week.
Well, that's funny you say that, because in a league where I had Cooper the entire year, and I have a slim to none chance of making the playoffs, and I'll probably be playing Cooper and Michael Gallup, and watch both of them will have absolute monster days, and it'll be all for naught because I've been already eliminated.
Yeah, it's been quite the fantasy year. I'm very happy that a lot of it's behind me and I can focus more on the betting and the DFS and not have to
exactly. No more stressing about waivers.
No, God. All right, Brian. We talked some props. We hit your teaser. We talked all of our thoughts for the Week 14 slate. Thanks for everybody who has joined and made it this far. If you are enjoying the show, make sure you smash that thumbs up. Make sure you hit subscribe. Make sure you are leaving a comment. Let us know your best bet for week number 14. But Brian, there's one thing and one thing only left to do. What's your best bet for week number 14?
This is the kiss of death, but I am laying the 4 with my Cowboys. Oof. Dallas is winning this division this year. They are on a mission. I think that this is the big Dak day. So give me the Cowboys -4 as my best bet.
That's, that's quite an idea. That's they're either going to win 35-3 or lose like 16-14. Like I don't really see much in between.
Yeah, I'm terrified. Absolutely terrified.
I'm going to take a road team, which I don't love to do as my best bet, but I'm taking the Niners minus the 1.5. I would take it all the way up to 2.5. If it hit 3, I would be out, but I just think they're a superior team. I think they can get that pressure on the offense and slow down Joe Burrow. I think, even if Mixon plays, he'll be banged up. If Debo's back, it's even better. Kittle's obviously back in form, not only as a blocker, but as a receiver. And Jimmy is an 80-20 guy. 80% of the time, he looks incredible. 20% of the time, he looks absolutely atrocious and makes the dumbest throws you'll ever see. Go back and watch his last 2 games where he literally is throwing the ball directly to the defender. If he knew to look for red instead of blue last week, we might have hit Cover Town, but Bobby Wagner got a very nice gift right into his lap. But I'm going to go back to the well. I think it absolutely makes sense. I think the Browns would probably be the only other team that would be in consideration for my best bet here as well.
Yeah, I like the Niners a lot this week. We'll see who's out there running the ball. And if Debo returns, I think this makes a ton more sense. And I think the line actually creeps a little bit higher. Maybe
and it's already moving, so that tells
point.
me that the expectations are for him to play.
Yeah.
It's a weird spot because, like, the Niners laid an egg in Seattle. The Bengals got rocked at home against the Chargers. Now they're both kind of trying to pick themselves off the mat. A lot of these games are kind of interesting spots, and trying to figure out where the market sees both the teams is kind of a different spot. As I mentioned, let us know down in the comments your best bet for week number 14. That's Brian Twining. I'm Kyle Robert. Enjoy your Sunday, Monday slate. Cash some tickets. Under Army Navy under. Yes. Just blindly take it. I got it at 36. I think it's down to about 34 now. I would take it anything above 30. This is a number that is, I believe, 49-1 or something. I'll find the tweet. I have a tweet, Notorious KRL on Twitter. I'll tweet it out. It hit again in Army Air Force, I think.
Yeah.
I kind of like Army getting Navy getting the points, even though they stink. Both teams are run the ball, but a lot of time's going to go away. This score is going to be like 3-7, 9-6. Like it's if you want to watch, like, if you want to go back in time and watch like some vintage 1920s football, just turn on the Army Navy game.
It's going to be Patriots versus Patriots.
In terms of like pageantry and what makes college football so awesome, it lives right up there. It's not, obviously Brian and I are biased with our Ohio State Michigan rivalry, but in terms of college football, it's definitely in the neighborhood for sure.
And you need to stay for the entirety of the game.
Yes. Lots of handoffs, lots of falling down. The weather could get wonky, so maybe there's an extra fumble, which could make things a little less ideal. But yeah, I think the under is absolutely the place. There's a free one as we get out of here. That's Brian Twining. I'm Kyle Robert, and we'll talk to you guys next time.